My name is Sofia Macedo. I'm originally from Portugal, and when I first came to Saudi was 2009. So I have been here since 14 years, not all together. I have left in 2013, and then I came back, and then I left again, and then I came back again. Initially, I'm a nurse by training, so I came here to be a nurse. And then eventually I stayed in Saudi because, unlike other countries, I was given the opportunity to grow, and I was given chances to really prove myself in a way that I could never do it in another country. And this is why I kept staying, because the doors kept opening and I just kept taking the challenge. So this is why I usually say what brought me is different from what is keeping me. Before I came to Saudi, I was working in the UK, and I knew nothing about Saudi. And now looking back, I'm actually thankful I didn't know anything, because when I told my colleagues back in the UK that I was coming, was the first time I was, told a few things about Saudi that would probably had hold me back. But because I really had no idea, I had no expectations whatsoever. I knew I was coming to a country that was willing to hire me for a job that I loved. And all I knew was that if I didn't enjoy it or something didn't go as enjoyable, I would probably take a flight back home. So to be honest, I really didn't have expectations, and to me it was probably the best thing, because since I landed 14 years ago, all I can say is I have never had what people call the cultural shock. I'm not quite sure why. I've never felt it. Perhaps culturally we do have more similarities between the Saudi families and the Portuguese families than people may think. And maybe because of that, I've never really had that shock. And maybe because I was just embracing the differences that there were at the time that are not as remarkable as now. Obviously, Saudi has changed a lot since then. And maybe because of that, I'm always thankful that my expectations were really none. And anything that came since I landed were all positive experiences, even the negative ones. I always try to learn from them. So initially, I was never a very social person, so I would just attract myself to someone that was, and people do really look after each other, because again, we do know that we are family to each other. We don't really have anybody else. And so this was the first impression I really got. And when I think about the experience I had in the UK, for instance, it was very different. I can say I felt lonelier in the UK than I ever felt in Saudi. I'm always very happy to say that I visited what is today Alula. I have the chance to visit it before Alula became what it is today. And back then there was nothing comparable, but it was beautiful as well. And that was a great experience because at the time there was no tourism there. Actually, it was a place that people wouldn't really even want to go. It was only the crazy foreigners that would wanted to visit, a couple of rocks put together. And I went there, was back in 2011. I'm very proud that I went at that time before Alula turned out to be what it is today. Obviously, it's nice today, but I'm just very proud for being able to have done that. I also have been to a couple of times to the Faroe Islands, and it was very interesting because when I went the first time, some Saudi friends, they were not really sure what the place was, so I was very proud of myself. And then I went to places like Abha. I have done Dammam, Jeddah a few times because I used to dive. So Jeddah, it is probably until today one of my favorite spots for diving. The first couple of months I was here, I did visit some heritage places in Riyadh, and they were quite impressive, especially the museum in Ediria Air, the National Museum, was quite impressive to me because, especially more because of the emphasis that they had on the Holy Quran and the history of Islam, which I was completely alien to it. So I was very impressed with that. The Masmak as well, more because of the value that it's inherited to that place and how proud people are of that, that symbol of unification and let's say, build of the kingdom. I did visit some other heritage areas in the Faroe Islands. They do have beautiful sites. One of the interesting things that I like to do in Riyadh, it's something that I never really thought I would enjoy doing, but it's just to drive around or just to walk around, because now Riyadh is very friendly to walk. Whereas years ago we didn't even have sidewalks. Now, I don't only have sidewalks, you have massive sidewalks, so you can actually enjoy that. And believe it or not, the weather, it is different nowadays, and you get to enjoy longer periods of very mild weather, and it's just very nice to walk outside. And when you do that, and every day there's something new popping up in Riyadh, be it restaurants, coffee shops, common areas where you can just meet with your friends, parks. So it's one of the beautiful things to do. It's, especially at night, Riyadh gets so live. And this is when you get to know what the new places are, because again, you get to see so many things on social media, but it's really when you just walk by or drive through, you actually get to see how they look. And even the restaurant that me and my friend went today, that was one of those cases. So we decided to go there today to try, and it's a very interesting concept because it's not just about the food. Obviously the food, was delicious, but it's the concept. You can actually experience the smell of the food that you're getting, plus the smell of the flowers that is just surrounding you across the whole restaurant. And obviously one of the most beautiful pieces you have there, it's the chandelier that they have, which is basically as if you are within a flower yourself. So it's, being in a restaurant, or some restaurants in Riyadh, is not just about going and, eat a meal. It's really about the experience of the whole decoration and the whole different senses you can experience there, and the restaurant we've chose today can really give you that, and me and my friend were very, very impressed, and we're definitely going to go back there again because it was a beautiful experience. So the feeling that I get around all the entertainment that is happening currently in Saudi, the first word that comes to my mind is actually overwhelming, in a good sense. But in a way that sometimes you can't keep up. One season, what we may have in the West in 5 years. You know, like you have events like the Middle East where you bring in 3 days the best DJs in the world, whereas at home you will have maybe one or two for a week. One of the things that have dramatically changed as well in Saudi, it's the concept of sustainability. And as usually we say, if you really want to change the culture of a society, you really have to start by your children. And this is what Saudi is doing, and which to me it's great and it's commendable. One of the aspects I love the most with the new transformation is how many Saudi designers are coming to life, and that brings not only a kind of different concept about clothing, because there's more focus on quality than actually quantity, and also in terms of the sustainability is that we have more and more places where we can buy pre-loved items, and the fact that it's sustainable to the environment, it's something that I really appreciate. And if before in Riyadh it wasn't that common, you couldn't really find this kind of market, nowadays you do. Personally, the fact that they've been used before attracts me even more to them, to those items, especially because you know that someone other than you has worn those shoes. Like there is some warmth to it. Someone has enjoyed that piece of clothes before. So the experience of today of having gone to that special boutique, I was very happy because so far I would do it through individuals, whereas now to know that there's actually a boutique where you can actually do that and just spend time there and have the experience and having access to those items in one single place, to me is an amazing experience. I always say that I'm very honored, and I really mean it, to be part of Saudi in a time of a massive transformation and transition. I always tell people that to be able to be part of a country that is going through such a change, it doesn't happen in everybody's lifetime. And I was lucky that I'm part of this, and one day I will be able to say I was in it. I was part of that history happening, and I'm always very honored for that. I can be only grateful for, you know, what Saudi has given me among a lot of things, professionally and you know, socially, emotionally. But at the personal level, I'm very happy that Saudi has given me the best of all, which is my husband. And actually, we had to travel from totally two different countries that are so far apart, and yet we had to come to Saudi to meet each other, and this was the best thing that has happened to me. Para todos os portugueses que estão fora da Arábia Saudita e que falam a minha língua, eu gostaria de vos convidar a vir à Arábia Saudita para perceberem e viverem realmente o que é este país, poderem experimentar os sabores e os valores que este país tem, que não é tão afastado assim como nós pensamos, e tenho certeza que vão embora daqui com uma ideia completamente diferente. Quero que venham e serão sempre bem-vindos, e a Arábia Saudita está de portas abertas para vos receber.